This is the Horse Radio Network.
This is episode 126 of the Dressage Radio Show, brought to you with the generous support of Kentucky Performance Products and Horseshow.com. Hello, I'm Chris Stafford, and welcome to another episode of the Dressage Radio Show, where we in the States are celebrating a fantastic result at the Pan American Games. I'm joined by Endel Otz, who's going to be my co-host this week, and Endel was shortlisted for the Pan American Games team, so went through the training camp with them. Endel, welcome back to the show.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm glad to be back.
Well, what a fantastic result in Guadalajara. We left the recording of this as late as we could so that we could get those results in. It could not have been better for the States, could it?
No, that's great. I just texted all of them and sent them all Facebook messages saying congratulations. That's really, really cool. And Anne and everybody, I'm sure they're celebrating big time down there.
And they certainly should be celebrating big time down there. Of course, an amazing result for everybody involved. We took not only the team gold, but also the individual gold and silver and bronze. This is the kind of result that dreams are made of, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, it's very cool. But that's what Anne said over there. She said that in every single meeting we had, she said this is like the dream team. She said it was so cool, every horse and rider combination that she had there. She said she was just so happy. And of course, with the riders and the quality of horses, she said that, she's just really, really, really motivated by how good and everybody worked together and how good the training and horses look.
Well, just to recap, because we're going to talk in more detail, Endel, about this, for those of you who have not been following it as closely as we have, the gold medal went to Stefan Peters with Weltino's Magic. Silver medal went to Heather Blitz and Paragon, and Marissa Festerling with Big Time took the bronze medal. So that was the 1, 2, 3, gold, silver, bronze in the individual, and the team gold, of course, which included Cesar Parra with Grandioso as well, that made up the team medals. So a total clean sweep, Endel. I know they went down there with big expectations, but to come back with all the medals that they went for is extraordinary, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I don't know. I think that everybody thought that it was a possibility, and everybody was hoping for it. But you never really want to say it. And I think that before we went, everybody was trying to keep their feet on the ground and really stick to business. But absolutely, it seemed like it worked out super.
It certainly did, and we're going to hear, obviously, from the riders when they get back to the States, but I know the champagne bottles will be, I think the champagne will be flowing tonight.
The margaritas.
The margaritas. And I do know that our friend Heather Blitz does like a margarita, but what a fantastic result for all of them. They well deserve the celebrations down there. We're going to just go through that competition, Endel, in just a second. We'll start with the team results, as I said, that went to the U.S. with a fantastic result there, and then Canada and Colombia took the other medals in that order. But let me just remind you about one of our sponsors here that make this show possible, and that is, of course, Equestrian Collections, because the fall season is upon us, and it's time to start thinking about your horse's blanket again. Perhaps it's time for a new one. Well, Equestrian Collections has an extensive range of blankets for all weather conditions, from the popular horsewear choices of Amigo, Rhino and Rambo models for turning out. When it gets colder, your horse will be ready with a brand new blanket from Equestrian Collections. And if you use coupon code HRN at the checkout, you'll get $10 off your next order of $100 or more. Equestrian Collections is a participating retailer of the Horse World Gives Back campaign. Well, Endel Otz is with me. Endel, you enjoyed the training camp. That in itself is a great honor and a wonderful experience for you. You must have had a wonderful time.
Oh, it was a lot of fun. Actually, I celebrated my birthday up there, and it was we had a party at Cesar's place, and it was so much fun, to hang out with all these big trainers and stuff, and they're all just really cool people, and to be with Anne and Stefan, Heather, Cesar, Marissa. It was a lot of fun. Everybody was very welcoming and really really cool.
Well, that was obviously at the team training camp in Gladstone, New Jersey. How long were you there altogether, Andor?
Oh, I'm sorry, my phone broke up for a second.
Yes, I was just saying that the training camp was in Gladstone, New Jersey. So how long were you there in training?
Well, right after Gladstone, I was up there for a month at Silke Rambau's barn, and I was there for I think about a month after Gladstone. But the training camp only lasted about 10 days or so before the horses left for Mexico. So right after I think the 1st or 2nd of October, we all came together at a 16 Hands farm just a little bit down the road from Gladstone. We all started working there, had our dog, and had help from Anne every day on the horses, and it was really really cool. And we did some team exercises and really hung out and got to know each other, and it was great.
Great experience for you, of course, and that will all stand you in good stead for the future. And then watching them all take off for Mexico, knowing that there was always a chance that you might have been called upon if something had happened to one of those that were ahead of you on the team. So I guess there's always that in the back of your mind thinking, I just might make it.
Yeah, I really didn't think about that so much. I was just really, really, I really never thought about that. I was just so excited to be there and to be a part of that group. And if anything, I was just, it was just so much fun, and to go through that experience and be out there and, everybody was really, really welcoming. And all the horses were super sound and really great, and none had any issues. So, my hope was actually that all those horses that were in front of me went and go down there and did a good job. I was super happy with my standing and where I was in there.
Well, that's terrific. So you bade them farewell. They flew off from New Jersey via Houston to get to, or Dallas, wasn't it, to get to Guadalajara in Mexico. And the riders went via Houston, of course, through the USOC processing. And obviously, this was an interesting team in that none of them had done a Pan Am Games on the American team before. If we look at Stefan, of course, he's done everything except Pan American Games. Yeah. It was Heather's debut on the team, as it was for Marissa, and of course Cesar Parra had been on the Colombian team, but that now he's a Native American. Now he's a citizen of the U.S. Of course, this was his first time on the U.S. team as well. So a very interesting combination and a dream team. It turned out to be a dream come true for everybody. Let's talk about that dressage team Grand Prix that took place at the beginning of the week, on Sunday of last week, I should say. They kick off with that team, and the discard score actually was Cesar Parra with Grandiosa. He scored a 69.526. Big time with Marissa Festerling. She came in with 72.026. Heather with Paragon, 75.105. And Stefan Peters with Valtino's Magic of 80.132. So a convincing win for that team. And in second place, though, a good second place finish for the Canadian team. And all of Thomas Vorek, Crystal Kirch, Tina Irwin, and Roberta Bing Morris there. And Tom Dvorak actually came close to the medals in the individual as well, but they needed that for qualifications for the London Olympics, didn't they?
Yeah, absolutely, and that's what that's what I heard their goals were, and that's what they wanted, and they certainly achieved that.
They certainly did, so they can be very pleased with that mission accomplished. And in the bronze medal position, Colombia, they won the bronze. That was Marco Bernal with Farewell, Constanzo Jaramillo with Wakana, and Juan Mauricio Sanchez with First Fisherman, and Maria Inés Garcia with Beckham. So third place to the Colombian team. That it must be quite interesting, actually, for Cesar watching his fellow Colombians in the bronze medal position up on the podium as well. So there were, in fact, a total of 12 teams that competed. And, you know, we've obviously all the South American nations. Mexico came in fourth, I should say. Brazil, then the Dominican, and then Venezuela, Guatemala, and the rest followed. I think that was Chile, and Portugal, and Ecuador. So quite a good to have a team. And in fact, of those lower orders, the last two teams, they only had 3 riders, but it was the best 3 that count on the team, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's so great to have, you know, such a wide variety of countries that come out there and show and you know, come together in, you know, a sport like this. And I think it's really hard to have, especially for the Pan Am Games. I mean, it's really, really good.
Well, of course, with the order of go too, that has to be decided, obviously, between everyone concerned who goes first. And I think it was decided that Cesar would be first to go, and then Marissa was second, and then Heather, and then Stefan. So we were sort of building up to that big finish in which, of course, Stefan topped the leaderboard as well individually. And then they go through to the I1 Endel to that was the next stage for the individuals to go through to the I1, which took place just 2 days ago.
Mm-hmm. Yep, they went forward to that, and they all did really, really well there. I mean, you know, Marissa and Heather had, you know, super clean, really, really good rides, and of course Stefan. It's really good showing for them.
It was, and in the topping that classification then, because that was the top 25 that go through from the team competition to the I1. Stefan, as we know, headed that with Veltina's Magic on 78.079, followed by Heather with Paragon 77.184, and third place Marissa Festerling with Big Time on 74.316. The Canadians' top rider, Tom Vorek, with Viva Saliera W, was 73.079, so he was chasing them there for the medals. And that, interestingly, that is part of the final score, isn't it, Endel, that goes through to the freestyle that's combined with the average from the freestyle to give the total score, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's all combined, so it all counts. So I think it shows you know, the best ones. Everything matters. Everything
really did matter, and I did hear that Heather was less pleased with herself after Paragon's ride on in the I1. She blamed herself for just missing a few things, but all in all, I think it was extremely satisfying for all 3 of them, obviously, to be in the top 3. And she did feel that she was absolutely ready for the freestyle, and certainly proved it. Apparently, she brought the house down at the freestyle. So we're going to talk a little bit about that in just a second. But before we get to that, I want to remind you about one of our sponsors here on the Dressage Radio Show, and that is horseshow.com. Horseshow.com offers 2 kinds of shows, the popularity classes and the judged shows. Entries to a judged show are evaluated by a U.S. Equestrian Federation or FEI licensed judge, and all entrants receive a complete scorecard from the judge, along with their comments about the performance. Entries in the popularity classes are viewed by the entire online community. Everyone can watch the entries and submit their own scorecard to place the class. It's a bit like American Idol for horses, where your friends and family get to vote on their favourite performance. You can find out more about how to compete without even leaving home by going online to horseshow.com and taking part anytime. That's horseshow.com. Well, Endel Otz is with me reviewing the Pan American Games results down there in Guadalajara, Mexico, which comes to a conclusion now. And not before, of course, the eventers and the show jumpers do their own thing too. But for our purposes here on the Dressage Radio Show, it was an amazing result for the American team. So as we said, Endel, that the freestyle score, I mean, although that is a class in itself, it also carries forward the average from the I1. Explain to our listeners exactly how that works, Endel.
I think there's the percentage from the freestyle is greater than the percentage from the I1, and you combine them together, and of course it's a combination of both of them that sets up the individual medals.
Right, and we should point out then that when they get to the intermediate into the freestyle after doing their I1, they carry forward that score. And the scores themselves of the freestyle today, they were pretty extraordinary, and I'm going to just run through those because all three of our riders broke the 80 barrier. First of all, Marissa Festerling.
Huge.
Yes, huge, absolutely. With 80.775 was her freestyle today. And she has to be thrilled with that, with a score of 80.775 for her freestyle.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, who couldn't be happy with an 80? I think I heard that she said that's her career best on that horse for that level freestyle.
Is it really? Yes, that must be a test to remember for her. So taking forward her I1 score and her freestyle, her total average then finished up at 77.545. That was her closing score. That is the score on which the final of the medals are decided. So then Paragon apparently came in and took the crowd by storm. They really stole the show there with Heather, and as he had been doing apparently all week. Now, his score for the freestyle alone was 86.650, Endel.
Oh, it's an amazing freestyle. I mean, when I watched it over there at when they practice, even just practicing a little bit of the walk work and trot work over in New Jersey. I mean, it's just breathtaking to watch. Heather and Paragon ride that horse. I mean, it's just unbelievable.
A wonderful, wonderful freestyle program she has for him. Really fits him. Of course, our listeners will be familiar with Paragon. As Heather's been co-hosting the show now right from the start. They'll have followed Paragon's story, and what a story it has become. And he has now, I think, over 1,300 fans on his Facebook page, and he has more fans than Heather after this, Endel. So it just shows how... that's extraordinary, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. It's. I think the horses. It's so nice to have them as our heroes. I mean, just like those old race horses are. I think it's really nice to see people going for that, and all of us as riders really recognize it. That while we do a lot of work, the horses do the most work in the tests and in the freestyles and throughout the career.
Well, he certainly has a lot of fans around the world, and I should explain that, of course, 86.650 was for her freestyle, but her total average for the two classes there was 81.917. And so then Stefan came in with Valtino's Magic. His freestyle score, he was the last to go in the freestyle, and his freestyle score was within a point of Heather. I mean, they were that close, and he finished with 87.300. And that was for his freestyle, and then his total of the two classes was 82.690. So really within a point, those two, nose to nose, right to the wire.
Oh, absolutely. I think, same as Gladstone. I mean, those guys just duking it out, and, two world-class riders. It's very, very cool to have it like that, and both on the U.S. team. So that's really, really great.
And and what promise for the future too, Endel, to have all the clients, including your horse, of course, Heather Mason as well, of course, with Warsteiner was in the training camp with you. I mean, we have such a great horse and rider combinations coming along now. Very, very exciting for the future. But I can just imagine the atmosphere. Apparently that was sold out there in the Guadalajara Country Club for that freestyle at evening performance down there in Mexico. And it is always a great atmosphere, isn't it, when you come to the freestyle, both in the small tour and the big tour?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think everybody loves the freestyle, and I think that you can really show your horse there and show your personality and your horse's personality, and it's I think a really great way to demonstrate to some people who don't know the dressage sport so well how beautiful it is. Sometimes in the normal tests it's really amazing to dressage people, but freestyles, I think it really shows the world how cool of a sport this is.
Well, it certainly has gained in popularity, obviously, since the music freestyle to music was introduced. It really has done wonders for the sport, and I understand that, as I said, it was a sold-out crowd down there in Guadalajara, and what an atmosphere that would have been, especially if you were supporting the U.S. team, Endel. I bet you wish you had been there just to fly the flag.
Oh, absolutely. You can only bring 2 trunks with them, and I was joking with somebody. I said, I'll just fit in one of those trunks, and I'll wear my U.S. jacket. I'd be happy to come there, too, but I think Caroline probably would have killed me I was already gone for 2 months from down here doing all this stuff, so she might have killed me if I was gone any longer.
All right. Well, I do just want to let everybody know about the judging there, the grand jury down in Guadalajara there. The grand jury composed, of course, of 5 judges at this level, and that was for the Argentina, Gabriel Armando, for France, Raphael Salah, Stephen Clark from Great Britain, Lilo Four from the USA, and Cara Whittam from Canada. So 5 judges deciding on where those medals went ultimately. And as I said, 1, 2, 3 could not have been better for the US. And we will get to talk to some of these riders when they get back here. But I think there'll be quite a bit of celebrating before we're probably all the way home, Endel, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. I think they will be recuperating from their celebration on that long flight home.
I think they will. Because when they get back here, the horses have to go into quarantine for just 2 or 3 days, hopefully no longer than that. They might be out within 24 hours, I think. It doesn't take long, does it, if everything's cleared okay, if their blood work's okay?
No, usually the blood work is fine, and then you just have a couple of days in quarantine, and I think everybody's pretty much looking forward to getting back to business as usual, and all their other horses are probably missing them and thinking they're retired and stuff already, so they'll probably all be waiting for them when they get home.
Well, you mentioned yourself that you had been away for 2 months, and I know Heather the same. She's been away for many, many weeks, and Marissa the same. There's a lot of sacrifices that the riders make and their connections, the businesses that they run. That's an awful lot of sacrifice to make the team, to what you have to leave behind in order to pursue that dream.
Yeah, I mean it's a lot of sacrifice, I think, but I mean we can't complain about it so much. I think to have a chance to make it on the team as an alternate or anything, it's it's really worth it. And I am really lucky because I have Caroline and stuff willing to work these horses when I'm gone, and our working student Amy Shearbeek, she's right here making fun of me right now. But no, it's really great. We have a lot of people standing behind us and helping us. And I don't think any one of us will ever complain about the sacrifice that we have to do. It's 100% worth it.
Now, did you do anything for yourself, for your personal fitness, or do anything different with your regime at all, Endel, knowing that you've been shortlisted for the Pan American Games team? Did that alter your personal program? Because I was gone away from home and not riding so many horses, I have a couple really nice like horseman's notes books that I like to read and go over different quotes and things like that. Fitness wise, I mean, because I was gone so long and it drove me a little crazy not to be on a horse. I mean, I joined a gym for a month and of course went there every day. So I mean that's more, I think, for my mental health than anything else. I like to work and like to do stuff. But pretty much, I still had horses at her barn that I could ride too. So I wasn't going too stir crazy. I mean, a little bit, but it was a lot of fun. I think a lot of waiting and stuff like that. Absolutely. Well, obviously the rest of the team will be coming back and going home and regrouping, I'm sure, for their future campaign, and that for most of them will include either California for Marissa, but maybe also Florida. When she was on the show, she indicated she might come over to Florida, and I know, of course, Heather lives down there anyway, and Cesar. Now, will you be going down for the Winter Equestrian Festival, for the circuit down there this winter, Endel?
Well, actually, I'm already down here, and I'm down here full time. Caroline Rothman and I, we're opening up a barn, a brand new facility in Wellington, right next to the WEF showgrounds and stuff. And so we're down here all the time, and so yeah, we're all down here for all the horse shows. So it's been really, really cool, and it's been a lot of fun.
Oh, well, I hadn't realized that. When did you relocate then?
Well, after I came back from Germany, from Hubertus, I got a call to ride Toscano, and I came back to the States and started working with Lars in Loxahatchee. And I had been friends with Caroline for a long time, and I called her and talked to her about her experiences with Lars, and she couldn't say enough nice things about him and his training and his work ethic, and of course his show record and medals speak for themselves. But so I went down here, and then I was of course down here and staying at Caroline's house, have a spare bedroom in there, and we just got along really, really great as friends, and we started to jump on each other's horses and help each other out, and then the rest is history. So I think it'll be a lot of fun, and we're both really excited about starting it out.
Well, terrific. What a dynamic business between the two of you, two young, aspiring talents there. So you'll be permanently based down there. That'll be very convenient for the Florida circuit then. So full steam ahead for you then, Endel.
Oh, yeah, that's the plan. We're all excited. I'm looking out over the barn right now, and they're just laying the sod, and I think they have to paint it, and we'll all be ready to go.
Terrific. So how many horses do you have down there then between you?
Oh, I don't even know off the top of my head. Don't ask me that. I just, jump on one after the other. So we have enough horses, but we do have a couple spots for some more, and so I think it should be going well. I mean, I spoke to Stefan and Heather a little bit about Caroline and our plan, just because it's always nice, I think, to talk to your peers and everything. And it was such a great opportunity, at the team thing to talk about that and ask their opinion. And both of them thought it was such a cool idea, to have two young professionals that get along well together and work well together to start out a venture like that. And they said, they thought that it would be, it's a good opportunity, and then also maybe an example for some other young professionals too, that you don't always it's always nice to have a team and a team atmosphere, and you find the right person that you can work with and see every day, and it's I think it should work out really well.
Yes, and you get that sort of camaraderie, that support for one another, and I'd imagine it would be quite a good fit and a good way to start a business when you're a young professional.
Yeah, I think that, it's always nice to have, a shoulder to lean on and someone to talk to about, different issues and different things that come up in the sport. And when I have an idea or maybe I have a question on a horse and Caroline's right there. I mean, she'll jump on, I'll jump on hers. And it's really nice. I mean, she has, coached me at some shows, and I've helped her out a little bit too. And, it works out really well. And it's just, there's no egos involved. If she does well, I'm happy. If I do well, she's happy. It's really, really, really great. I mean, of course, we're very competitive, and of course, when we're in the same class, both of us want to win. But if the other person wins, hey, it's just as good.
That's terrific. Well, obviously a lot to look forward to for both of you then, with heading into the winter season down there in Florida. We'll have to keep checking in with you, Endel, as the season unfolds, because no doubt you both have big ambitions for next year too, because you're both on a roll right now, aren't you?
Oh, absolutely. I think it should work out really well. I just the only thing that I did lose was that the Toscano horse. The owners wanted to bring him home after Gladstone, and that was a little bit of a deal that we had. So I did lose a ride on that horse, but we have a bunch of really, really good up and coming young horses that I think will do very well in the Young Horse Championships, and then also for FEI sport as well.
Well, good for you, Handel. We'll keep up with you and with Caroline Rothman down there in Wellington over the winter. And that just about wraps it up. But before we go this week, I do have a reading for you. And this reading this week is going to be from Riding Towards the Light by Paul Balasic. And that is published by Allens. We'll put a link, of course, on our website to this reading. So let's hear from our first reading from this book by Paul Balasic. The Seat. A long creek flows in and out of high shale cliffs, along small beaches of grey sand and gravel. In some places, the gorges are over 100 feet deep. This old creek moves through the Tuscarora Indian Reservation on its way into one of the Great Lakes. A brown, smooth farm road follows the creek for half a mile before the water turns hard into one of the high shale banks, spinning off into the dark shade as the road trails off into a rugged stand of pine trees. It was on that dirt road, bordering the creek and a fertile cornfield, that my first real introduction to the seat took place. A couple of days before, in a library, I had found a copy of a book on dressage by an Englishman, Henry Winmailin. I had already been riding for a number of years, both in the American Western style and the English hunt style adapted by Federico Caprilli, the Italian founder of the forward seat. Winmailin's book fascinated me. He described the possibility of sitting on a horse in a way that a rider could follow every movement and be practically glued to the horse without relying on grip. I was mesmerized. No one had ever told me anything about this kind of riding. It seemed mystical. The descriptions of the horse's various movements were incredible. I took Winmailin's book and one of the two horses that my family owned at the time and went off to the road. It was a clear day. I had a flat, smooth English saddle, a typical old hunting type, with no padding beneath the skirt and built on a tree of a very flat contour. It felt like I was sitting on a wooden plank. I took the stirrups off and began to walk, then trot. The horse seemed to be trotting too fast, and I kept sliding from one side to the other. Even though the road was perfectly straight, I could not keep my balance. Time after time I would slip so far over that I had to grab the horse's mane and pull myself up straight. The horse became nervous from all my wrestling and clutching. We continued in this fashion up and down the road again and again. The sun fired overhead as the trail of our dust rose above us, up and then down again. Whenever my legs shook uncontrollably from exhaustion, I would stop and read Winmailin, searching for a clue in the writing, and then I would try again. My legs were rubbed raw and began to bleed. I kept at it. I became angry with myself, but still I continued until complete frustration took over. Finally, it was no use. It was just too painful. When I had started, at least I could stay on for a little while. Now I was falling off every few strides. I had to stop. I was furious with Winmailin. I looked at the black and white photographs of this frail-looking old man sitting to the trot. I thought it was a hoax. Exaggeration, rotten exaggeration. This old man beyond his prime, sitting there giving us fictitious images. Yet even when my rage with Winmailin was at its highest, I knew one thing. Somehow, deep inside, I felt, although I didn't even have one microscopic piece of evidence, that Winmailin wasn't a liar. Somehow the old master had set the hook. I told myself that whatever it took, I would get this seat thing. I would master it. It is midnight, and there is an early autumn storm in southern Pennsylvania. The rain is solid and feels even colder because we are leaving Pennsylvania and what has been, for my new wife and me, our first home together, as well as our horse business. The lights of the stable reflect in prisms of moisture in the driveway. Our horses are loaded on the lorry. The motor is running. Occasionally, they stamp a little nervously. There is the immediate pressure to get going. One of our best friends is there to help. It seems sad to leave. Why I don't have more doubts about this move, I am not sure. The dogs are crated in the car which my wife will drive. If all goes well, sometime in the next day, we will arrive at our destination, a piece of land we have bought in the Adirondack Mountains. It is raining harder. There is nothing more to do. We have to go. At college, I studied horse management as part of a pre-veterinary course, and in the riding school, rode as part of an equitation program. In the summers, I gained more horse experience by working on various farms, and after I graduated, I tried to work with as many different types of horse as I could. Carriage horses, polo ponies, hunters, and at racehorse studs, and event and dressage stables. The girl I married was also involved with horses. We worked together and eventually rented a stable and started our own business. I began teaching. We also both exercised and trained horses. If I could find good dressage instructors, then I tried to have lessons, but they were rare and expensive. I read everything I could find about horsemanship and dressage. By this time, I had spent so many hours practicing riding without stirrups that the seat seemed much less foreign to me. However, I kept at it. I wasn't anywhere near satisfied, even though I could now stay on some difficult horses. My wife and I worked hard, and things began to improve. I was lecturing on horsemanship at a local college, and teaching 20 to 30 hours of private lessons during the week. This left less and less time for my own riding. I couldn't believe it. Here I was running my own horse business, something I had always wanted so badly, but it could just as easily be any business. It was always business. Years before, in college, I had hunted up the Adirondack Mountains with a friend. I loved those mountains. My friend lived there, so I asked him to look for a piece of land. One day in the winter, he called me. He had found a perfect place, and it was cheap. I went to see it and bought it. I thought we could start again, small, reshape the business, and ride. I didn't want to teach. I had too much to study. I just wanted to ride all of the time. As I started to drive away from the Pennsylvania stable, I wasn't sure if I would ever see this great horse country again. We survived the night with no breakdowns, and I was convinced this was a good omen. In mid-morning, a little caravan drove through the small village of Ironville, where less than 50 people lived. It was still a couple of miles to the farm. The air here seemed so much drier, and in every direction we could see the peaks of mountains. I was excited. Finally, we arrived. We turned the horses out into a wire-fenced paddock. They moved off a little unsteadily into the knee-deep grass. The other pasture land would still have to be reclaimed and permanently fenced. There was not even a barn. The house was falling into 2 feet of water in the basement. I had cut some trees on a previous visit. They were trucked and milled. Now a fresh pile of lumber lay stacked in the dooryard. It would only take me time. I looked at my wife. I wasn't sure what she was feeling. This extract is taken from Riding Towards the Light, an apprenticeship in the art of dressage riding by Paul Balasic, and published by J.A. Allen in 1990. Well, as I said, that about wraps it up for this week. I want to remind you all about the Equestrian Legends show, which is on equestrianlegends.com and on iTunes. And also keep sending us your suggestions for great partnerships. I love to hear from you. And if you're under 20 years of age and would like to report on your show anywhere in the world, we would love to hear from you. And as always, our show notes are on dressageradio.com, and you can also download the podcast at iTunes. They're permanently archived there, so you can go back and listen to previous episodes too. Well, lots of excitement this week in the American camp. As I said, a huge congratulations to the American team for winning the gold medal in the Pan American Games, and also for the gold, silver, and the bronze medal. What a fantastic result. Endel, it's been great to have you on the show with me and to reflect on such a victorious week for the American dressage team. Yeah,
absolutely. It's my pleasure, and I congratulations to all you guys, and Anne and Stefan and Heather and Marissa, Cesar, everybody. That's really, really cool, and I think the whole country's proud of you.
Absolutely. Well, Star Spangled Banner will be playing, the champagne corks will be flying, and we will bring you more of these riders' remarks. Of course, get them on the show here. Not least of all, Heather, of course, is a regular on the Dressage radio show, so we'll look forward to having her on when she gets back to the States, and the other riders too. Well, that wraps it up for this week. I will be back, of course, at the same time, same place next week. So until then, thank you all for listening.